occurred like a real fight would in the octagon, in my opinion. Like, it's looking real good for Jet Li. Like, whoa! Newsflash! What? Beat change, it's about to get serious. These guys don't like girls or something? Guys, someone please comment, what the F is happening in this scene? What is up, guys? John here, aka Bruce Lee. Today we're looking at Jet Li again in Fist of Legend. This is recommended by one of y'all at home, so thanks so much for all commenting below, guys. Every comment I see, I love, especially because, you know, seeing you guys chat with each other, not just myself, has been a real treat, and that's what we want to do here. Build a community of people who love martial arts and watching movies, and etc, etc. So, we're looking at Jet Li. We're going to give this a rating based on two criteria, realism versus entertainment. So, how real the martial arts is versus how entertaining the scene is, since that's the main objective of the movie, right? If you want to watch just plain, real, you know, fighting, you just watch the UFC. Obviously, right? Also, just as a quick note, like a lot of these 1980s movies, like if there's like any like jump cables or like dramatization like that, we're not counting as part of the realism thing, because that's, you know, that's for the movie. That's for the movie, right? So we're strictly just looking at like the, you know, like the martial arts, like the combat moves and etc. I have seen this movie once upon a time when I was younger, and funnily enough, I have no idea what the F is happening, because I realized now when I was watching these, I didn't really watch it for the story. I just was watching for the fight scene. So if anyone has any context as to what is happening, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get into the breakdown right now. Alright. Nice parries from Jet Li. He's giving up a little too much ground, though, I think. Yeah. Ooh. So what I mean by giving up ground is he's doing a good job of parrying. So parrying means you're redirecting the punch out of like an obvious like angle of incidence. So what I mean by angle is that, like, you know, if it's hitting you, about to hit you right in the nose, all you gotta do is change the angle of incidence. So like kind of where it would hit you over here, and now it's no longer a danger, right? So I like parries a lot as opposed to like blocks. When you block stuff, sometimes it still sneaks through, or like when you block like kicks or like certain really hard punches, you kind of still take some damage, whereas a parry completely nullifies the move, and the way you goes like up, down, or like left, right, like the Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid style of like parrying, it works as well, but I find these more like, those are a bit more rounded, whereas these kind of direct like pop, 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 pop. I find those like a little bit more effective and realistic personally. But the thing is with parrying is that you want to counter back. So he blocked like 17 things in a row. At one point in those 17, try to hit back and make the opponent just stop the salvo that's coming at you. Because if you get backing up, you know, eventually you'll hit a wall and it'll get you. This is what happened here, right? He gave up a little too much ground, which, absolutely, you know, against an aggressive opponent, it's not unrealistic whatsoever. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If so, please leave a like, because it means a lot to me and supports the channel big time. And please consider subscribing so I can hang out with you again. For now, let's get back to the video. There we go. And you see how he circles out of it? Like, he maybe should have, that's how he got out of that position, right? Instead of moving straight back, like, move left and right as well, brother. And he eventually did, which is fine, but you could do that, like, way earlier instead of, like, when you're in the corner. Good dodges now. Cool. Good wrist grab. Like, the amount that Jet Li went flying here is obviously, again, like, dramatized, but that trip there, you can control someone's wrists, or so, usually I find it's easier if you have a neck and a wrist, or something along those lines, and then kind of like go in scissoring motion, pulling this way, tripping with your other foot. Like, to flip someone over or to trip someone like that is realistic, just not the height. One-handed push-up. What? That was really cool. Yeah, I don't know if I'd really be able to dodge doing like one-handed push-ups. I could barely do one-handed push-ups just in general. I could do like 7. So that's a bit of a dramatization, but super cool. Nice little Superman punch there. So let's back that up. So right here, the guy has his right leg up, and then as he lands, he's going to pull it all the way back and extend his right hand across into basically a Superman punch, right? and then goes for another front kick. That sequence is real, and you'll see that all the time in certain like Muay Thai combinations. Like it won't look obviously like that in the air. It's just so like like flowy like that. But that sequence absolutely works. Like that's something that I've taught in my classes, as well as something I just like to do in general. Like front kick into a Superman, into another front kick. Nice rangy moves is a good way to go forward and attack at the same time. And then this chick's face is kind of funny, actually. It's like that's like the YouTuber thumbnail face, which is probably what I'll use for this video. He's getting it tight. Nice. Closing the distance. Just showing that he could get him. I love that control, like, and a lot of times, like, when you're sparring, obviously this guy is, like, he's a Kungfu or a Wushu master, and, like, you don't, like, you could probably go a little bit harder, but, like, when you're sparring someone, like, for me, like, even if it's, like, someone who's experienced and, like, well-conditioned to take hits, like, just showing that you could hit him, I think, is enough when you're trying to, like, learn or make a demonstration like this. Like, you don't need to, like, knock someone out in sparring, because, like, if you got knocked out, like, I try to spar when it's not COVID, like, 3 times a week if I can, or at the very minimum once a week. And like if you got concussed 3 times a week, like that's really no way to live and to train. So being able to control yourself like this is really cool. The one thing I liked about this whole sequence though, and you'll see like when let's back up for a second, watch Jet Li's feet as he closes the distance. So against the Wushu master, where you realize that when you give him space, with the Superman punch, long front kicks, when you give him space to accelerate, he's extremely effective and really good at closing distance going forward. So sometimes the best way to neutralize something like that is to yourself cut off their range of, let's say, like their acceleration, right? Like the runway of the plane, like that's like the room that you would accelerate if you're an airplane, right? If you take away that runway, the plane can't take off. It just doesn't have enough time to get going. And by coming close like this and Jet Li staying close the entire time, you're also taking away the Wushu master's ability to accelerate and therefore get his best moves off effectively. So watch as he closes distance. He's got parries. Good. And he keeps moving in. Bang, bang. You see how he keeps cutting in. You'll see this against Tommy Morrison as well. In some cases, like, you can make an argument, like, Mike Tyson struggles with this as well. We call it, like, stepping on the back foot, right? So, like, people who are high offense fighters, like Tommy Morrison and Mike Tyson back in the day, if you back up, let them come into you a lot, and they are able to control the distances and ranges, and they're able to sneak into your guard, they're absolutely deadly. Right? Or even look at like Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, right? So Deontay Wilder coming in, extremely scary guy. But if you take the initiative and you push them back and you're the one going forward and they have to fight off what we call the back foot, so your weight's usually, instead of being on the front foot, is on the back foot and you're backing up like this, all of a sudden a lot of your best moves, if you're a highly offensive fighter, they no longer work, right? A lot of moves, they work best when you have the forward momentum to keep going with it. When you're going backwards, you have to use a different set of combinations. There's different forms and angles that you need to use effectively, and if you're not used to be that person that backs up and counters people, it is, it's hard to learn on the spot. I mean, that's why, Tyson Fury won those last couple of rounds in the first fight, and then ultimately won the second fight. As you put Deontay Wilder, this, knockout artist, on the back foot and had his back against the cage or against the ropes when he's used to be the one doing the, it is the hammer and the nail, right? When you're used to being the hammer, it's a lot harder to be the nail. A little demo to show, hey, I could have got you, bro. There should be some respect there of like, hey, like, you could have knocked me out and you didn't. And he just hits him back. Nice skip up. We don't want a Japanese woman. These guys don't like girls or something? Guys, someone please comment. What the F is happening in this scene? Oh, the music changed. Beat change. It's about to get serious. Nice counter. Like, now it's one of those times again where obviously, right, the height here, like, obviously, like, there's cables that pulled them up, but ignoring that, right, because that's the thing, again, this is sake for the movie. when someone charges in like this, there's a good way to counter them, which is the spin kicks, right? Any spinning motions will catch people off guard a lot because the angle of like incidence again is different than normal, right? If you do a front kick or a side kick, your leg comes forward. When you do roundhouse kicks, they come to the side. When you spin kicks, they kind of come at different angles of entry that are necessarily like hard to they're hard to predict sometimes when you're the one going forward. Like when you're like cutting the distance so quickly, you can't really react to those spins all the time with like. You can't react ideally, I should say, okay? So if someone comes in a little too brazen like this, you can absolutely counter them with a spin kick. You'll see people do it all the time in Taekwondo tournaments, like high-end stuff. Like people throw a roundhouse kick or charge in with any punch, and someone will just spin on them on the way in. Absolutely realistic. And although, like, yes, they're like 7 feet in the air right now, like, in principle, the martial arts here is making sense, everybody. He's like, whoa! Newsflash! I actually like that stance a bit better. You see where Jet Li, excuse me, is now he's southpaw. I don't know if that's necessarily a benefit. Like I like to fight southpaw myself, but he's light on his feet, which makes you more agile. So it's kind of like the classic shuffle. Bruce Lee, Jet Li do this in a few of their movies, right? And the advantage of this, and the reason like boxers, especially nowadays, and you know, just since ever, have been light on their feet, and it's kind of a split step motion, is that you can go forward and back a little bit quicker, and without telegraphing, you can move side to side with a little bit less effort. The agility here is super important. And now he's able to dodge a lot easier, right? So you see, but if you back up, his dodges are like bang, bang, lean back, matrix. And now he doesn't need to do that because his feet will just move his entire body out of the way without losing his posture. And it's a lot less work. So that's what I mean. Like movement becomes your defense. And now I'm guessing movement is about to become his offense. Good counter. Nice boxing. The one thing I think is a little off with this is that he goes from southpaw, gets some good punches, steps in, goes orthodox, gets some punches in, moves back to southpaw. If you're a traditional boxer, that's not really like boxers generally nowadays. They don't like no boxing trainer I know allows you to switch stances like that. In kickboxing, you absolutely can switch stances. So that's one thing that just something I like to take note of is that like I personally don't think it's a good idea to switch stance that much, but it is what it is. Still works, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, we got countered. Nice. They move it a lot. See that? Instead of moving forward and back, Jet Li circled out a lot more. It's also easier to circle out and move lateral when you have that lightness of the feet, right? That agility. So he's doing a lot better. And now, even before this combo where the guy started bleeding, like the Wushu master in Peach, like he was a bit more hesitant too, because now he has to time the steps and the movement a bit, right? So now Jet Li is harder to hit. He's moving around in circles a bit more, and he's countering the guy back when he gets overly aggressive. So it's looking real good. It's looking real good for Jet Li. Alright. Ooh, nice. Crescent kick to a side kick. Okay. Nice. That when the guy looked down like that, he observed like, hey, the problem here is the movement, right? I mean, it's Stephen Thompson, right? He has a new course out on dynamic striking, I think it is, about how movement can be, I don't even know exactly what the course is called, but movement's your weapon. And he's starting to realize like, hey, like when this guy is able to move around light on his feet and float like that, he's a lot more effective. So I'm the fake high, attack the leg. I would have done that earlier, to be honest. If I read into that a bit easier, a bit earlier. Nice. Ooh, cartwheel kick, very senchai. That hurts. Nice. Very cool. And that was it, guys, for Jet Li versus the Wushu Master in Fist of Legend. Again, we're not going to count anything with jump cables or dramatization as part of the realism factor here. Just the martial arts. And you know what? I actually want to give this I think I want to give this a 10. I thought it was very realistic in terms of like the forms and just the tacticalness of it. And what I mean by tactical aspect is that, like, you know what? Like, Jet Li was backing up. He's like, okay, I gotta do something different here. So he moves to the side. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna get light on my feet, move in and out, start to counter him a bit more. What I also liked a lot that was tactically sound is that, like, you know, the Wushu master. And the one thing I have, I'm not against Kung Fu by any means, but one thing I do notice about a lot of Kung Fu katas or just forms, I shouldn't say katas, because kata is Japanese, Kung Fu is typically Chinese, but what I mean is, like, you know, martial arts forms in Wushu, but also in some Japanese martial arts as well, is that there's a bit more rounded. And what I mean by rounded is not like well-rounded, I mean, like, instead of just punching like this, sometimes they'll go out here and load up and then go forward, if that makes sense. So I'm not a Kung Fu master by any means, guys, so this is just like an example of, like, so the Wushu master is going a little bit more wider with his arcs, which means he generates a lot of acceleration and a lot of force. But the problem with that, and, like, you know, for example, if that was a way to go about it 100% of the time, how come no boxer does that? And why do kickboxers not do that? And Muay Thai fighters not do that, right? It's because although you can generate a lot of force by, like, you know, like, really putting your body in and winding up and engaging as many muscles as possible to go in one direction, is that it becomes telegraphed. And the way Jet Li was countering him was just be going like block, block, straight, right? Like, why? Like, you know, there's no like exterior extraneous movement. It's just like parry, parry, jab, parry, parry, and like just like bang, 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 straight punches to the body. So it's kind of like a straight to the point aspect of it made a lot of sense, right? And then when the guy noticed, okay, this guy's movement in and out and side to side is becoming a little bit of a problem for my style, let's attack the leg, take that movement away. Like, it just made sense to me. Like, that whole thing, it kind of occurred like a real fight would in the octagon, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if you look at it strategically, I thought that made a lot of sense. In terms of, like, the kicks, like, excellent form, lots of front kicks, a crescent to the side kick, the punches, I'll admit they're a little bit, like, they were kind of made to be parried. They're made to be blocked. What I mean is, like, you know, anyone could have parried those easily. Like, they weren't really made, like, for what I mean is that, like, when, like, if the Peach guy didn't get parried a lot of those punches, even if he was able to extend his full arm, they weren't actually going to hit Jet Li. Probably because it's choreographed, like, by all means. So it's like, even if, like, Jet Li would parry it like this, but even if it didn't, I don't think it was actually going to hit him with any real force. Like, the distancing was a little bit off. But again, it's because you don't want to, like, necessarily maybe hurt the actual actor. So I'm guessing that's why. So that's why I was leaning towards a 9 of originally, of, like, you know what, like, some of those punches weren't really made with the intent to hit, but also, like, it's a movie. So I think anyways, it's a long ramble. I think we give this a 10 on realism. Entertainment, I don't see how you can't give that a 10 as well. That was just a lot of fun to watch. Obviously, like, with the big flips and the jumps, like, that adds to it. And the woman, you're gonna be like, oh, like, that all adds to the drama of it. I just like the speed and the intensity. I thought the martial arts was sound, and it just makes it for a really intense scene. So I love this one, you guys, and I'm really glad that you guys recommended I watch it. So please leave a like and subscribe so I can see you again, and it supports the channel big time. I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown or saw some value in it. And please comment below your thoughts, your ratings, or what video I should see next. It's John, aka Bruce Lee. I'm a kickboxing teacher here from Canada, but I'm signing off for now, and I hope to see you next time.